required practical is on water purification. There are 3 parts to this practical. You will require some samples of different types of water. Here I have some salt water, some spring water and some rainwater. I'm going to demonstrate to you the 3 parts using the salt water. First thing I'm going to do is put some sample of water, salt water, into my beaker. Need about 25 centimetre cube. Then using my pH probe or meter, I'm going to put it into the water. Let it settle, and it says 7.2. I'll record that on my paper. I'm now going to test the pH using the universal indicator paper. Going to let that dry for a bit. Now using the full range universal indicator solution, I'll put a few drops into my sample. Give it a mix. And then using my scale, I'll put it against the colour, and it is about a 7. Now looking at the indicator paper, again it's about 7. Second part of the practical, you will need a Bunsen burner, a tripod, a gauze, a heat-proof mat, a evaporating dish and a balance. First thing I'm going to do is put the evaporating dish on top of the balance and take the reading. This will give me the mass of the evaporating dish. I will then pour some of my water sample into my dish and put this dish over a Bunsen burner which has a blue flame on it. I'm going to let the water evaporate in the evaporating dish, and the solid that is left over will be measured on the balance. The water has now all evaporated and it has cooled down, and there is some solid left inside my evaporating dish. What I'm going to do now is measure it on my balance and then subtract the first reading, which was the measuring of the evaporating dish, away from this measurement, and that will give me the measurement of the solid. You can use distillation equipment. Here I have a distillation flask which is attached to a clamp stand. Here I can put the sample of salt water in and let it boil with a Bunsen burner. It's then attached to a Liebig condenser. The condenser is attached to the cold water supply, cooling it down. Therefore, the evaporation coming from the boiled water will enter through the condenser and condensation will take place. The distillate will then collect into the conical flask. Or you can set it up with a conical flask delivery tube which goes into a boiling tube which is inside a bath of cold icy water. Now the solution of salt is inside my conical flask. I'm going to put the Bunsen burner on, let it boil, and then let the water evaporate and then collect into my boiling tube. You can now see the salt water boiling, and the water is evaporating into my delivery tube, and then as it reaches the boiling tube, because of the cold icy water, it started to condense, and I'm getting some pure water collected into my boiling tube. Here I have my pure water collected from my salt water during distillation, and I can again test the pH for this. You can repeat the experiments, all 3 practicals, using the spring water and the rainwater.